last video of the essentials, I am probably going to throw in another video on systems and maybe a couple of other things here to really round out this video playlist. But we want to dive into client delivery and retention. Now, I said in the very first video, I am not a fan of clients for life. That is not the way I operate. I want people who are focused, independent, they're autonomous. I want to solve a person's problem so they can go live life. But I do have retention in place. And I have retention in place in a couple of ways. But the first thing I want to get into is client delivery. With client delivery, we are looking at how are you going to deliver the service. For those of you who don't know, my name's Penny, and I was a nurse anesthetist for many years. My first hypnosis practice was in Connecticut, USA. I saw clients face to face. Skype sessions were really sketchy. The internet wasn't that great, and I never did them. But I wanted to do hypnosis with a fellow hypnotist who was in Dallas, and when we did our sessions, we attempted by Skype, and it was so bad, we switched to telephone sessions, and you're probably going, Jesus, how is that even effective? Believe me, it was, because hypnosis happens in the mind, not in person. And if you're like, well, the energy of being in person, quantum mechanics, the energy's still there. You're just not in proximity. And the research supports that virtual is just as effective as in person. So there's just no question there. People have their opinions, and that's okay. I'm not here to argue people their preferences because this is about an aligned, sustainable, profitable hypnosis business. But when I opened in Mississippi, at first I was face-to-face, but I wanted to replace my anesthesia salary. So I realized if I want to get out of the hospital, I'm going to have to bring in some money from somewhere. So my first thought was I'll create an online course. Given that I was a nurse anesthetist and I trained with Ron Esslinger in pain management, and I had developed my own system for working with pain clients, that was the obvious choice. So I created Master Pain Management Hypnosis. I ran a beta round of that pain management course, and then I launched the final course, and those recordings are available for purchase on my website. So you can go and sign up and go through that course. However, that wasn't going to be enough. I needed to replace a close to multi-six-figure salary. And in Mississippi, 51% of people at the time were on state assistance of some form, be it Medicaid, food stamps, disability, whatever the case may be. My fee at the time was $175, and I was doing okay getting clients, but at that price, I had a lot of people coming to me wanting me to do sessions for $25. I decided to take it online. Now, whatever you're doing with client delivery, you want a system that is repeatable. So whether you're doing it virtually or you're doing it in person, you want it to be simple. You want it to be repeatable in how you're doing it. For me, going online meant that and I was doing this manually for the longest time, I would send my clients forms. They would take pictures of them or scan them and email them back to me. Okay, can you hear the friction in that? I'm emailing them forms. I got to download them, print them, fill them out, upload them, scan them, take pictures of them, or email them back. A lot of friction. So this is why client delivery is so important. And then we would set up reminders with call links. At one point, I let my clients schedule their own sessions, and they would always screw themselves. I would give them very specific instructions. 1 session a week, not more than 1 week. We can do 2 in 1 week, but not more than 1 week apart. What do people do? They always put themselves on the back burner. it's human nature. People tend to put themselves last. It's all the stories they have in their head. So then I went back to manually booking and having to send them a Zoom link if they need to get reminders, if you're in a calendar system, whatever. This is the stuff that will run you crazy in your business. These are the little details that are busy work, they're redundant, and they can become frustrating. And the moment one piece does not flow to the next, to the next, to the next, you have an unhappy client. Okay? So, you want to think about your client delivery. What is the journey you want your client to go on? So I still do consults with clients. Actually, Tina does the consults. Tina Madsen, she is an excellent hypnotist. She's with me on my team, and she handles my consults. And depending on whether or not people want to work with me or her, or if they have preferences, whatever the case may be, whatever the wait time is, because I have very limited one-on-one capacity, she has more. So if they want to get in a hurry and not wait a couple of months, then she triages them and inputs them where they go. But when she gets off that call with them, she sends them a very detailed email of everything that they talked about, what the work is going to look like, the outcome they want, how that transformation is going to look. Now, you don't have to do this to start. We're talking high ticket. People invest $15,000 to work with me. That's the level of care that's expected at that stage. You can give that level of care to everybody, but you reach a point where that's the expectation. People want to be seen, and they want to know that you're going to be there for them and you're not going to skip town and disappear. So she'll send them an email, and then from there, we send an invoice and we send the paperwork. We don't call it the contract, we call it the paperwork. Now, in hypnosis, if you're a hypnotist or a hypnotherapist and you have liability insurance, which you should have, if you don't have informed consent, that insurance is null and void. And if your training program did not teach you that, then they left out something very important. Because a part of being a professional and with working with people is understanding, number one, how to take care of yourself, how to take care of your clients, and how to make sure you are protected if something goes wrong. So the NGH recommends using the client bill of rights. My paperwork is basically a terms of service that includes the language from the NGH Bill of Rights, but it's in a more legal ease. It also includes information on refunds, cancellation, or if they need to reschedule a session, as well as their privacy and non-disclosure. Once they have taken care of their investment, we don't call it a payment, once they've taken care of their investment and their terms of service, all we have to do is go into our system and say they're working with Penny or they're working with Tina, and it automatically puts them into a system. And that system sends them a welcome email. It sends them to a client portal. All their videos on hypnosis, the subconscious, the conscious mind, the unconscious, self-talk. There's a section on the self-hypnosis that I teach with all of the commonly asked questions. Any question that I have to answer on repeat for a client, it's in here. Then I will do a very brief call with them, a 15-minute call, because I only take 1 to 2 clients at a time. We will get on the calendar, we will get on the call together, and I will schedule their sessions. For me, it's easier to do over video than it is back and forth over email, because we can do it like this. Email, it can take back and forth several days. If they have an assistant, then I can connect my assistant with their assistant. They can hop on a call and it's done very quickly. So we use Google Calendar, and the Zoom link is in the Google Calendar, and they can add it right to their calendar. And the subject of the meeting is Penny, and then client name. Now, why is my name there? It's on my calendar, right? It's because when I first started doing this, I had a client tell me, say, you know what, Penny, every time I see our meeting on the calendar, I see that I have a meeting, but I never know what it's for, because it used to be the client name, and that was it. So then Penny, and then it's the client's first name, no last name, for privacy reasons. And they get that. And they have a second email, which just reminds them to fill out the client onboarding form, because there's a link to their onboarding form. Second email with a reminder and also instructions to use Voxer. I provide my clients voice and text support between sessions, so that as life is happening and they're going through the shifts and changes, I can be there to help them navigate that allows them to embody the shift. It's not a session and forget about you, see you next week. That's not how we do it. No, we have Voxer. So always letting the client know what's next. And here's the thing. Even the most successful and most educated people, everybody is busy. Everybody has a lot on their plate. People have very low mental energy for complex ideas that don't need to be complex. When you're working with people who are in any kind of a leadership position, a mom, a teacher, a doctor, a nurse, a therapist, an executive, you just keep adding to the list. When you're having to make a lot of decisions every day, if you've been through hypnosis training already, you know this, the brain can only expend about 600 to 650 calories before it starts to go, whoa, wait a minute. We're burning a lot of energy here. We need to conserve energy in case we need to run from the bear in the woods. Okay? Once you hit about 800, speaking of running from a bear in the woods, once you hit around 800 to 850 calories, that's when we mentally hit the wall. That's when we hit the wall and we don't have any mental energy left to keep going. The best thing you can do is make it easy for your clients. Never, ever, ever, ever assume that they know what you're talking about, because I can tell you anytime I slip up, I'll have a client who's been with me, maybe they did a full 8 to 10 week package and then they went on retainer with me. Talking about client retention. They go on retainer with me. And then I'll forget to remind them of something. We just get into such a rhythm, I don't think to remind them. I make the assumption that they remember. And then we'll have a hiccup connecting on a call or a vacation day or something like that. When you're setting up your client delivery system in the beginning, you're going to do this manually a little bit till you get it figured out. But for my alumni in the 30-day Kickstarter, before they ever see their first client, I have them think about how do you want your client to feel? How simple, how easy. And I even give them drafts of emails so they can put the sequence together, and all they have to do is get a calendar booking system And whenever they go in and manually book in clients, if they're not using Google, it will automatically send the reminders and everything for every calendar, because with high ticket clients, most of those people operate out of their iCal, their Google Cal, whatever the case may be. The majority of America, they just have a lot of things on their plate. They don't have to live their day by a calendar, so you have to send those reminder emails. With my clients, I don't have to anymore. I haven't sent reminder emails in years. But the majority of you watching this, you're going to want to send 24-hour and 1-hour reminder emails with the link of how to connect with you. But when you're on your sales call, your consult, and you're telling the client, you're going to want to speak in simple terms. I mean, we're talking like third grade simple. You see, I'm spelling like a third grader, right? You want to speak in simple terms, not because they're dumb, but because you don't want them to have to think about it. If it's hard to follow what you're asking them to do, they're going to think the whole process is going to be hard, and you're creating resistance. So you don't want to do that. So you want to keep it very simple, third grade language, and then you want to tell them 3 times what to expect. On your sales call, here's what you can expect next. We're going to do this, 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 and this. And then when you wrap up the call, you say, okay, I'll be taking care of your invoice and your terms of service later. Look for those emails. You might want to take care of it on the call. I don't. When my people commit, they commit. They don't like the high pressure. I'll send all that over. You have any questions? Then once you send the invoice and the terms of service, you send them an email. Say, hey, I sent those things over. If you have any questions, or for some reason they don't arrive in your inbox, just let me know. I'm here to assist you. In your welcome email, we're so happy to have you. As we discussed on the call, you're getting access right now to a client portal. In that client portal, you're going to find da-da-da-da-da-da-da. You tell them what you're going to do. You tell them as you're doing it. And then you tell them what you've told them all the way down. So you tell them 3 times. Let people feel cared for. Not that as soon as you got their money, you forgot about them and they're just a transaction. People are so over transactional service. They want real service from people. And this video is going way over. Now, retention. I mentioned no clients for life. When you start coming towards the end of your work, you got a couple of 3 sessions left. If you're doing like a 5-session package, maybe the 4th session, you're going to say something along the lines of, wow, you've experienced X, Y, and Z changes. What are you going to do with all these changes? Like, where do you see this taking you? And then ask them, what kind of support would help you to really embody these changes and make sure you continue to build upon them? And then that's the route that you go. Some people say, well, you know what, I really just feel like I need to kind of stay in touch and in community. For me, that's where they go into Catalyst Recalibrated. Someone else might say, well, you know what, it'd be really great to just be able to reach out on Voxer when something's on my mind, and to just have a handful of sessions that if something comes up, we can just jump right in, because if I have to reach out to sign up again and to schedule, I know it won't do it. Retainer package. And they may say, oh no, I'm great, I'm good. Then what you do on that last call is say, here's where we are. This is amazing. Thank you. I would love it if you would share a few kind words about your experience working with me, and get a testimonial. And saying, oh, and by the way, if you ever know anyone who's dealing with X, Y, and Z, and you think they might benefit from my services, just reach out to me and let me know, and I will let you know how you can make an introduction. That's it. Client delivery and retention. Then once they're no longer a client, there are a couple of things that you can do. What I do is I give my people a continued 30 days Voxer access. If they're not continuing to work with me in some way, and I use that Voxer to offboard them. In other words, I stay in touch. I don't forget about them. I chat with them. I check in on them. I'll let them know how well they're doing, give me an update, and I reinforce their positive changes like, oh, you're doing great. You got this. And I roll them off. Some people do offboarding over email. And simply in an email, very nicely, cleanly, politely tie it off. And if you're ever looking for future support, reach out to us here at XYZ. Never just leave it hanging, because this right here will drive your testimonials. You can have someone that does not get the complete result they were looking for. And if you make this simple and easy to work with you, and you make them feel seen and heard and taken care of, they will tell people about you. They won't be able to stop talking about you. Be sure to like, subscribe, comment below. Let me know any questions you have, and we might do some more videos in this series.